Atma Namaste everyone, welcome to your full moon support video, and today we are going to talk a little bit more elaborately on how the full moon affects us and why this particular full moon which just went by, which is also known as Wesak or Buddha Purnima, and this full moon particularly has immense and intense energy flowing through us, and most of us have felt it. And so I would like to clarify what's happening, and in this understanding we will be able to also address certain things, and probably by the end of it meditate together to completely transmute this energy, whatever it may be. And so yeah, let's begin. Before we start, let's do a short prayer just so we can invoke divine blessings, and whatever I speak, let it be with the least amount of distortion. So let's just do a short prayer before we begin. Yeah. To the Divine Supreme God, Divine Father, Divine Mother, to all the spiritualists, Holy Master Saints, Archangels, Holy Angels, spiritual helpers, personally, my teachers, Grand Master Choa, Lord Mahaguruji Meaning, Pandit Shriram Sharma Acharya, Shivji, Ma, Mataji, Babaji, and all the great benevolent beings, our higher self, spirit guides, ancestors, spirit animals. We humbly invoke Thee for divine light, divine love, mercy, for soothing, healing energies, for illumination, divine oneness, for abundance, for clarity, for unity consciousness. Thanks and for faith. Gratitude, respect, and with love. Thank you. Okay. So generally speaking, full moon is a time of either opportunity or crisis, is what Great Master Choa talks about. So what happens during the full moon is a lot of spiritual energy is pouring down, and it's not just noticed spiritually where you cannot see it, whereas it is actually physically also witnessed. You can see this happening to water bodies all around, where the waves and the tides are really high during the full moon. Not only that, it is also recorded that psychiatric wards, the patients, they get even more restless during full moon, and even with homicidal people, they get more homicidal during the full moon, right? So whatever tendencies, whatever things are on the surface, they get really heightened during full moon. All right, so that's why we also have like this blind belief which says that don't travel during full moon, don't go out during full moon or new moon, right? So this is because of that. Okay, there is a reason behind this, and to certain extent this reason is valid, but it depends on each individual and how they can utilize this. Okay, so it's up to you, but the information is being given. All right, moving on. This time the full moon was in Taurus, and it's generally means we were talking in terms of Western astrology, we would say it was in Scorpio, but then we are talking in terms of the Eastern astrology, hence it was in Taurus. Okay, and in Taurus is when usually full moon happens. This time it fell under April, but usually it's in May. All right, so this particular full moon is known as the most potent, the strongest effect that a full moon can have is during this time. All right, and it's known widely throughout the spiritual community because this full moon was also known as the Wesak full moon or Buddha Purnima. It's the time where Buddha was born, he passed away, as well as where it's the time when he reached his enlightenment. So you can imagine how prominent this is in the Buddhist community. So it's traditionally that, but spiritually it is also a time where there's incoming and ongoing spiritual energies that is downpouring into Mother Earth. During this time it is said that Lord Buddha comes back to Earth, right, just to share, and it's like a very specific time during this full moon, and for a very short time, but very prominently he comes down to a part of Mother Earth where there are many holy masters who gather around him and they receive this powerful blessing that he provides for us as human beings and other beings to awaken and to rise up to the consciousness level that we are capable of, okay, which is to be enlightened or to awaken to the truth of our being. All right, so before it gets too woo-woo, let's understand what's happening, right? For you and for me, as I spoke about full moon, anything that is on the surface is going to be heightened, right? So the spiritual energy downpour, what does it? It's like stirring the pot, okay? Whatever is inside is what will come out, right? So if there is something small, some small sort of irritation or anger or some sort of fear or pain that's happening, that's lingering about in your body, in your mind, or in your system, what happens during full moon? It's like a limelight to that, right? Like it starts feeding energy to whatever is on the surface, like I said. So it starts feeding energy there. So whatever this thing was, it was small, right? But during the full moon, it just becomes big. It becomes out of proportion. And that's when people feel like really agitated. So people who are not in the spiritual path, who are just going about their lives, they are still yet to understand who they are. These people, they go through this as a turbulent time, right? So many people even fear full moon. They don't like full moon, or they prefer just being with themselves during full moon because it's a lot for them emotionally or mentally. They are going through some sort of a roller coaster, right? All right, but for you and I, as spiritual aspirants, as spiritual practitioners, we take this time and this energy that is coming through, and we utilize this to transmute whatever that has come up for us. Okay, so we don't fear this energy, we instead utilize it and empower ourselves with it, because that is what this energy is anyways being brought to us for. Okay, this is the reason that during Wesak time, before Wesak, we prepare ourselves, we clear our system, and we release, we purify whatever it is that we don't like the energy to feed. We would like that to be released, so we release it. All right, okay, and meditating during this full moon time is equivalent to meditating for months together. Okay, so it's really powerful and very transformative. Whoever meditates will feel the transformation and will feel aligned. If you are already on the spiritual path and if you've already done the meditation during this full moon time, as was suggested, then you would have felt that effect already, I'm sure. All right, please write down below, comment below if you have felt that, so that it kind of inspires people who visit here, who come by this page, who see this video, and who understand about Buddha Purnima to actually practice it too. All right, so yeah, it's really powerful and it's very transformative. So there is another thing. This full moon is so beautiful. Okay, it comes with its own manual of how we can utilize this energy too. We don't have to look too far, right? It was Lord Buddha himself who has taught us the way. All right, so he first imparted wisdom to us through 4 noble truths, right? And the 4 noble truths is not something very complicated. Okay, it's very simple, and it is very closely related to each of our lives, so you wouldn't even forget it. All right, the first noble truth is that there is suffering in life. You might have heard of this if you have come upon this, as there is only suffering, right? But that is a mistranslation. It's more about there is suffering in life and not that there is only suffering. Okay, because if there was only suffering, then the other noble truths don't matter, and if there is only suffering, then there's no point of doing any of this. But it's not that there is only suffering, it is that there is suffering in life. Okay, there is suffering in life, so we accept there is suffering in life. Second noble truth is, what is the cause of this suffering? So Buddha is more like, someone like a physician, right? You go to a doctor and first thing you say, I have this pain, right? This is happening to me. And then the next thing the doctor will ask you is, what was happening? Like, how did this come about? Did you fall? Did you do this? Did you do that? Right? Like, so you understand the cause of it. So similarly, the cause of suffering or the origin of suffering, okay, is the second noble truth. Third noble truth is, the suffering can end. Okay? Cessation of suffering. The suffering can end. It is important for the doctor to tell us that there is a remedy, right? If he says nothing can be done, then there is no point to go about it, right? You wouldn't go further with the doctor if there is no way out. So he tells you that yes, this can be cured, this can be done something to, like we can help remove this, we can help do something about this, correct? So Buddha also tells us that there is a cure, okay? There is an end to the suffering. And the fourth noble truth is that the way that you can cure this, the way to release, the way to find solace and to not suffer, okay? And he's given us the way too. So in the fourth noble truth comes the eightfold path, okay? The way to release suffering, okay? But before we enter into that bit, let's talk about the first one, the origin or the cause of suffering. All right? Okay, so henceforth, the elaboration of this was given to me and my teacher also, Master Choa, by our teacher who is Master Choa, the one whom we invoke during most of our blessings, okay? And he was given this understanding by his teacher. So we are not claiming this understanding, okay? But this is an understanding that has helped me personally. And if you resonate with it, you can take it. If you don't, you can leave it, okay? It's up to you. But this is an understanding of what the Lord Buddha said in the words and the understanding of Master Choa, okay? So first thing is the first cause of suffering, which was unregulated, unwholesome desire. So Master Choa made this much more clearer for me. While I was initially in the spiritual path, I understood desire to be something that we should refrain from. We should not have desires. Desires are bad. But the time of Wesak is when he cleared this for me, that it's not that all desires are bad. Is loving God, trying to come closer to God, it's a desire, right? Is that bad? Is loving your family, wanting your family to be in harmony and, to receive all the goodness there is in life, is that a bad thing? No, but it is a desire. Yes. So not all desire is bad and it's something you should not have. It's not like that. It is made clear to us that the first cause of suffering is not desire itself, but unregulated, unwholesome desire, which means something which is in excess, when the desire itself has control over us. For example, you feel happy with some sort of food. Okay, you eat this certain food and you feel happy about it. Now, just because you feel happy, if you keep eating that food, what will happen? And you keep obsessively eating it, what will happen? That food itself will start hurting you, right? So unregulated, that is unregulation, not being able to detach, right? Just being so attached that you forget, that you chose to indulge in this food. So you can choose to not indulge too. And you can choose and you can immediately see when the effects are not going good with you, right? And you can detach. But here what's happening is, if you don't have it, then you just can't sustain yourself. You cannot be without it. So this is where addiction also comes in. Okay, and it's not just addiction to drugs or to alcohol, it's addiction to anything. Okay, it can be addiction to a person, right? It can be an addiction to social media like we have nowadays, right? It can be addiction in many forms. All right, but this is what causes suffering, the first level of suffering. Okay, now the second cause of suffering is unrealistic expectation that favorable situation will not change. You know, things are going good right now in my life. This is how it should be. This is how it will be. If I think this will cause me suffering, because change is inevitable. Under this second cause of suffering, there are three things, okay? Law of change, law of cycles, and law of consequence. Law of change you understood just now, right? Impermanence. Nothing in this world is very permanent. Nothing remains as we would like it to always, right? It keeps changing. Change is a constant. We see it in other things as well, which is the law of cycles. We see it in seasons, right? Different seasons, they keep changing, and you can see it. The tree shed, the animals also behave differently during different seasons. Things around the world only move differently during different seasons, right? Then there is astrological cycles under this itself. Even astrologically, the stars and everything, they don't align in the same way, same manner every time. There's always some sort of change that's happening there as well, right? Then financial cycles. Even financially, we have like a financial year, then we have like a time when the finances aren't doing that great and stuff like recession and stuff like that, right? So financially also there is a cycle. There's always an up and down, right? And then there is consequence, which is law of karma or law of cause and effect. This I'm sure I don't have to explain. Most of us have already experienced it. Even the law of karma is a sort of change which we don't like to accept, okay, which can cause suffering. But there is an interesting bit with law of karma. When we have law of karma, when we say it's your karma, right, as Indians we use this a lot, this is your karma, probably it's some of your past karma, right? When we say that, it's like we're giving up, we don't have any hold over this situation, it's just happening now, right? But what Master Choa elaborated here was that it's not just that it is law of karma and now we have to just be like hands up, it's just happening, this is destiny, this is fate, and I have nothing over this. We can interject, and we can influence law of karma too. Okay, so this is one of the representation of how law of karma acts in a everyday usual person going through life, right? Like this person, how it affects them, and it's happened to each one of us. So it's not something that only happens to these people who don't practice spirituality, okay? It's happened to each one of us. So maybe most of us are still here. So yeah, this is what it is, okay? What happens is we go through A to B, which is we're going through a very nice time, gradually ascending, growing, evolving. In our spiritual path, there is this beautiful ascendant time where we are at the highest peak level, where everything's working out for us, like finances are good, relationships are good, or something is really good in our life, right? Like we are in some sort of a cloud nine place, okay? Now, B to C. You can see B to C is like gradually you're coming down, right? Okay, and then we see C to D, right? C to D is a steep fall, and this is the time where we are completely, at the bottom pit. Nothing is going our way, everything is going wrong, not going according to our plan, and we feel miserable, we feel like we're in this dark space, and it becomes really difficult. But you see, there is G to Easter, which means either we learn because of our karmic lessons, past karmic goodness that comes up for our rescue, or either there is some sort of divine intervention, Otherwise, the best teacher that comes into play is pain. It becomes so unbearable that we don't have any choice but to move out of this space that we are in, which is the D, right? Like the bottom. So from the rock bottom, we somehow build ourselves up, we struggle and we move up. Now later on, from D to E and F, you can see there is another climb, and this time if we do fall down, it is still at a higher level than the last time, which means that we will recover better still. Okay, so there is a kind of gradual growth, you see. But what if there is a formula to take advantage of what we know right now, right? And how is this slide? Okay, here you can see A to B is just like the previous one where you are ascending, but this time something is different here. Okay, B to C to D and E, you can see that whole thing is like a small roundabout and not much of a deep steep below, right? It's not going really to rock bottom and then lifting yourself up from ground zero, right? It's actually a very small turn and then again ascending higher. So what is different here is when you are in this high space, right, where everything's working out for you, your finances are good, or your household is good, your relationships are good, or your spiritual growth is accelerating and you're feeling really connected to divine, or whatever it may be, in whatever ways you're feeling like, supported, loved, or cherished, or nourished, or you're doing good in business, or whatever it may be. This time is the time that you don't just say that, yeah, it's there, it's good, so let me just enjoy it. Rather, you know that this time is also temporary. This is also going to change. So while you are enjoying it, you plant seeds. Planting seeds will lead you to create a momentum when you are down. Okay, so when you have the same cycle working, which will bring you down, to experience the lows as well, that time you are prepared because of the seeds. They will grow and they will help you to lift up to a higher level and much more faster. What are these seeds? These seeds are nothing but generosity, sharing and service. When we do service, when we heal other people, when we exchange whatever knowledge or wisdom we have, right, received during this time, either knowledge, either healing, either energetically, right, or either with some sort of finances itself, whatever ways that we can help in, when we are contributing to a larger group, when we are distributing what we have, these become the karmic seeds that will act as an anchor for us to reach higher. Okay, it is that simple. When things are not going well, how long this will remain bad and how long this will look this way is up to the person, right? It's up to the person and how he responds. Okay, if it is bad now in this point, okay, say I have laid down the karmic seeds but it's bad, and what do I do at that moment? In that moment when it's bad, if I am only complaining, then yes, the karmic seeds will act, but the fact that my attention, my energy is just going to complain will drag it further down and I will suffer extra for no reason whatsoever, right? I don't have to. So rather than that, if I understand this concept that yes, there is a low right now, there is this part where I'm not that great, but in this part, instead of focusing and complaining only, yes, you're allowed to complain if you feel like it. If you feel like that outburst is coming, it's fine. But after that, right, immediately after that, if you can divert your energy into prospects, into places where you can plant seeds, right, serve, share, whatever you have. It does not have to be something that you have in large excess amounts so you're sharing. It can be something that you just readily have, right? Like we have readily food, we have readily shelter, clothes, we have so many things. So if you are readily able to share those things, maybe bring a smile to someone's face. It does not even have to be monetary, right? you help out some friend, you help out some people in whatever ways, give your time to charity, to volunteer, these ways, right? You do this service, then that service will lift you out of this whole cycle much more faster. Okay, so this generates good karma, and that will help me out to get out faster. Okay, but to be able to, like, not dwell in that complaint zone, not dwell in what is happening, and to see this bigger picture, you need to know who you are. Okay, and this is what the eightfold path, which we are going to cover in the coming days, one by one, or maybe 2-3 I might take at a time, is eightfold, which means it has 8 sections which we will be drawing wisdom from, and each day we will meditate together on each of these things, right? So this will be something that I'll pick weekly once, so that we all can gather and transform with these precepts, so that they can help us embody them. And it's a practice, it's a way of being, it's a way of implementing it in your lifestyle, and it's not just about reading it and feeling very proud that you know these things. It's not about that. It's more about actually putting it into practice, and we will be doing that. So that's why I'll give you weekly time for you to actually put that into practice and see what kind of changes it brings and all of that. Okay, so the eightfold path is also like what is taught in the system and the teachings of yoga and the yoga scriptures. We are also learning similar things. So there are many ways to the same thing, which is to be enlightened, or to know who you are, to realize yourself. Okay, there are many ways, but every way, right, every way needs to be experienced first to understand if it is for you or not. Okay, so you can experience this, since it's the time of Buddha Purnima, and the next full moon in Gemini would be something that still holds this energy, and we would be doing the final commencement of this energy, which is to share and expand on this and share it with everyone else, with our family members, with our loved ones, and everyone. Okay, so during this time, this is best to practice now. All right, and so this eightfold path is the final path, which was how to overcome this suffering. All right, so this is it for today, and after we are done, this was a lot of information, so just to digest all of this, right, you don't have to memorize it, but it does have to sink into us, right? Sink into us to experience it, and to bring it to practice, it needs to sink into us. So what I do is, generally after an overload of information that I receive from my teachers as well, I just close my eyes, which we will do today. Okay, close your eyes with me, and just let this information sink in. That's it. And just take deep breaths in and out. I hope that these teachings that have been imparted today bring you great understanding of yourself, of your own path, of your journey, and bring you closer to who you are. I hope they inspire you to keep going, keep practicing. Then know that this is doable. If it is something that I have put into practice, I am capable of doing, every one of you can. Okay? There's nothing that I can do which you cannot. We all are capable of this. So just inhale and exhale and know this is possible for you. And let's give thanks internally. Just giving gratitude helps us to receive better.
Thanking Lord Buddha for all the wisdom that he has cultivated for us and simplified for us to learn from and to experience the enlightenment, the liberation that he experienced. Thanking him and all the teachers, Grand Master Choa, for compiling this wisdom, simplifying it, experimenting with it, and making it so easily available to each one of us. Thanking all the heavenly guides and beings supporting us during this time. With thanks and in full faith, so be it, and so it is. Om Amen, Amen, Tathastu.